Have you ever been approached by somebody that you have called out on their bullshit and they've messaged you like, you?
Oh, yeah, I call that Tuesday.
Oh, okay. What have those interactions have been like?
I was talking to you earlier about it, but I'm actually getting sued by a guy right now.
Oh, yeah.
250 pounds stacked, and you're hella
Jack
good.
Black.
And he's in a time after Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee was 135 pounds.
But he beat Kareem, though. He beat Kareem.
So
Put that in your account, please. He did 100 push-ups with just a thumb. Just one thumb.
I do love these
Just
stats.
one thumb.
Show me this, please, now.
This is just an actor, and this actor was doing this like demonstration. And when he does, I guess he has a little too much hair care product in.
Oh my God!
Oh, yeah.
Please, no! I
his
did it
hair.
on purpose. They don't call me Ghost Rider for no reason.
Welcome back to the Casuals MMA. We are a combat sports and MMA show hosted by very, very casual fans. My name is Gilbert. That's Nick. That's David. Today we have a special episode here in the middle of December. Typically we watch, UFC fights. We cover what's happening on the news. But today we're going to get into the weird part of martial arts. The creepy, dark side of dojos and whatnot. We have Rob Ingram from McDojo Life.
It's me.
Let's go, baby.
You have a face.
He's a real guy.
Yeah, I do have a face.
Yeah.
Not a great one, but it's here, damn it. I'll take what I can get.
Martial arts background. I know this about you, but tell the audience, you did sport karate, correct?
Yeah, so I'm a third-degree black belt in American Freestyle Karate. I am now going down on this microphone for a second. A third-degree black belt in American Freestyle Karate. A third-degree black belt in something called Jodo, which is a weapon system no one's ever heard of. Just means I'm good at nunchucks. Purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, 6-0 amateur boxer, 4-2 amateur kickboxer. Was on an international kickboxing team for 2 years called Team Full Circle. Then I was a striking coach for a Jiu-Jitsu academy for a long time, and then now I basically point at stuff and say that's bullshit for money.
Dude, you're that white guy in high school that got really into martial arts.
Well, yeah, because I was getting my ass beat. I was like, this getting my ass kicked thing sucks. Maybe I should try not to get beat up.
Are you still competing now?
No, I'm almost 40. Like, if money is good.
No, for like jiu-jitsu. Are you still competing like jiu-jitsu though?
Every once in a while, like I did it.
Like you're still rolling and you're still...
Yeah, I still train. But
Yeah.
like competition for me, I just don't care. Like I did it for so long. And then I just like, why? Like I'm just old. It hurts. Everything hurts. It's like I don't want that anymore. I like sandwiches too. Food's good, nice.
Yeah. Sandwiches.
Yeah, when I stopped competing, I was like, oh, this is what food is? I can eat this?
Yeah.
Twinkies are great. Why would I want to get rid of those?
Yeah.
For people that don't know, our audience, can you explain to everyone what McDojo Life is? Because I think all of us have been following you forever.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate because that's how I pay the bills, man. But I basically call out fakes, frauds, phonies, conmen, pedophiles, sex offenders, and cults in the martial arts industry. The martial arts industry is completely 100% an unregulated industry. You do not need a background check. You do not need any certification or credential whatsoever. No one's going to come check on you to make sure you're legitimate. None of that exists. So because of that, there is a lot of people who take advantage of their positions of power, either through extortion, fraud. I've seen murder cases, pedophilia.
Jesus.
It gets really gross. And unfortunately, martial arts is a good thing for a lot of people, myself included. Like, saved my life, the old school saying. Like, it gave me a path and something that was positive. But for a lot of people, that is the opposite. Their instructor takes advantage of their position of power, and then we get these horrific cases. And if anybody thinks that it's not that common, just simply Google the words karate arrested, martial arts arrested, jiu-jitsu arrested. Just Google it. And I'm positive probably something within the last 2 weeks has happened.
Damn.
It's kind of interesting too, like with the onset of the internet and technology, you would think that these con men wouldn't be so common. But every time I look online, there's like these weird people that somehow have a class of like 100 to 200 people, and they're teaching them absolute bullshit. It's like, you could just go online and see this is not real.
Reviews.
But for some reason, they're there and they're paying like an absorbent amount of money to learn absolutely nothing. And I'm wondering, like, what is the type of person that believes in this bullshit?
Well, I think it's a little more complicated than that. Like, first of all, cults still exist today. We can all agree there are still cults, right? And as much as you would want, there we go. Now I can get all comfortable. But as much as we would think that the internet would help deter people from cults, it actually helps guide them to cults. Because just like someone can look up and research well, this is bullshit or not. Most people aren't looking for things to disprove themselves. Most people are looking online for things that will double down on their thoughts.
Geez, that makes sense.
So when someone goes, well, I believe I have like this psychic power. I believe that I have it. They're going to go out and look to
Who
find
has
out.
psychic powers like
Yeah,
that?
and then all of a sudden it's going to be a
Crazy Google search.
Yeah.
and there are like these in crazy. A lot of these places, just like anything else, have lineages. So if you go to any martial arts studio, there's going to be a lineage,
Gotcha.
right? And that leads back to someone. And a lot of like the really crazy stuff leads back to a very specific book, an initiation into hermetics, I do believe it's called.
Whoa.
And that particular book was around World War II time. And that dude was putting out stuff like how to be invisible, like how to astral project.
Dunning-Kruger.
Like,
We're talking about the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Copy this book.
Hey, I'm telling you, man.
But there are people out there who they make it their entire living now because this book exists, teaching that to people. And people will pay hand over fist money because they don't want to be proven wrong. They want to be proven right. Well, here's an expert I can pay that will tell me that I'm right. And then, of course, you go down the path of any other cult. Well, you're in charge and you're making a lot of money. And now that I know for a fact that this is bullshit because you've been training it your entire life, well, I just kind of want to make money because how am I going to look if 20 years of my life was dedicated to something and then now I have to go publicly and say I was wrong? Like that's that red pill, blue pill. That cognitive dissonance? Oh my God, I've been proven wrong. Well, I can continue to go down the path of lying and I can make a shitload of money and keep my circle, or I can go publicly and admit that I was a huge piece of garbage.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take the money. Most people will.
Have you ever been approached by somebody that you have called out on their bullshit and they've messaged you like "fuck you" or have they ever done that?
Oh yeah, I call that Tuesday.
Oh, okay. What happened? That's the part that I'm curious about, right? Because nobody wants to. They're not gonna just take it just standing, right? They'll just be like, "Oh, fuck this guy." So, what have those interactions have been like?
Well, I was talking to you earlier about it, but I'm actually getting sued by a guy right now.
Oh, yeah.
I just watched that video.
That's the lawsuit video.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of
Can you give us
breakdown,
the breakdown
of
of
so
what is this
Show
situation.
David this clip. This clip is good.
If I don't know if people can see this right now.
What's Walter
They can
White
see,
doing
they can
there?
see it.
Okay, so that
Brian Cranston.
guy's name, who was just in that clip, his name's Gary Snap Ferguson. Gary Snap Ferguson is a convicted sex offender. He is registered on Angie's list, and for some fucking reason, if you if you put us side by side, I don't like how closely we resemble each other.
Hey, bro, not a good look for you.
Yeah.
Wait, who's who? Right?
I was like, why is Rob there?
So,
Why?
Let's just say, hypothetically, this dude didn't look somewhat like me.
As you were editing it, you're like, "Fuck."
Yeah. Well, what sucked was I obviously I'm like, this dude is a child molester. I'm gonna do this video about this dude, and then the first comment was like, you kind of look like that guy. I was like, God damn it. The internet will find a way.
Yeah.
But this dude Brian Antak hired him, and he winds up, he knew well before, and I'll talk about why, but he knew well before that he was a sex offender.
And your point is,
Yeah. So like, and then you can like even see here, like these posts right here were taken in 2019 when they were posted, right? Well, why did he block out his face?
Oh my God, that's
you can't
weird.
edit that post.
Yeah.
Like, so he had to do it before he added those videos, before he posted it.
Oh.
So he knew when he posted that what was going down. I have text messages like where he admits that knowing. I got contacted recently by someone who was a parent who had their child in his facility. And she was like, I knew back 3 years before he admitted to knowing. Wow. Like I knew, I confronted him. She showed me the screenshot of like Gary on the sex offender list. She showed me the time and date. And then even worse is a year after Brian says he removed the sex offender from his facility, a parent showed me a photo. And in that photo, it's time stamped and location stamped because it's an iPhone. A year later, still allowing him in the facility after he admits that he knew. So like right now, the dude owes me $20-something thousand because by trade, I'm a reporter. We have the anti-slap laws and stuff like that. So he's 2 out of the 3 causes of action that he sued me for, he lost. Like defamation was off the table. So I can talk about that part because it's done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like there is no defamation. Like you did do these things. And now he's trying to convince people that that's not true. And if you Google the case, like in the case on Google, you can see that he brought in a bunch of people to give like testimony about how good of a guy he is. And I'm like,
He didn't touch my
yeah. I'm like, how? Like he knew. He still knows. And so now he's still trying to lie to people. And it's incredible because this dude's not that far from here. This guy's in Bakersfield.
No way.
So this is a case that guy's, to my knowledge, is still operating a martial arts facility.
But is this common more in those smaller towns and cities? Like do you see
Absolutely
this?
Absolutely not. You see this everywhere. Fight sports was a big deal back in the day for a while there.
What was the issue there?
There was a molestation case, and then of course, the saying is how things hypothetically went was that the molester was able to not only get away with it, because I think he fled to Brazil, to my knowledge, before his court case, but he was paid like a severance pay. Like, he was paid. Like, this
What a great package.
Yeah, like,
fight sport.
why would you pay this like, well, his family, and like, no one gives a shit. He can get a day job. Go work at McDonald's, son. $15 an hour, you're going to be okay. Yeah. Like, you don't need to pay this dude a severance pay. And then, like, the old Lloyd Irvin stuff. And
Yeah.
So, like, there's just a ton of this that happens all the time.
That's so scary for parents, right?
Yes.
It's like, I think like doing the vetting process is super fucking important. And I feel like sometimes people look at these institutions as if, like you said, there's no sanctioned thing. It's like anybody can start it up. Literally anybody can just be like, you see it online with people who are online coaches, and you see that they have clients and they clearly don't know anything at all. But the person who is like completely not knowledgeable at anything, they seem like an expert.
And martial arts is very convoluted.
Yeah.
It's super convoluted. Like, if I go to a Muay Thai gym, I might have to call the instructor crew. If I go to a jiu-jitsu gym, I might have to call him professor. If I go to, it might be coach, it might be sensei, it might be sifu. They're all pretty much the same. It's just a title of instructor. But at the end of the day, does a person who's never done martial arts know that? And with that, like, here's a fun question. You get this from like a lot of the CRM services, like Perfect Mind, Mind Body, Rainmaker, stuff like that. These are softwares that help you run martial arts gyms. And so they keep like all these great statistics. What's the first question the average person who walks into a martial arts studio asks? What's the one question they're going to ask?
How much does it cost?
How much does it cost? They don't ask, are you background checked?
Yep.
Has anyone here ever molested anyone? Like, you think that those would be more important
But how much does it
questions.
cost?
Yeah.
Yes, I have. But what is the price?
Oh, that's a good price.
Can I get a discount? Because if you did touch somebody, I want half off.
Yeah. Well, I want half the hands off too, man. But yeah, like, isn't that wild?
Yeah.
That just goes to show what's very, very odd to me is this is something that's been around since the dawn of time. Since somebody said, oh, bam, and you can punch someone in the face. Let me like systemize that and then teach people how to do it more better. Since the dawn of time, it's been around. But you don't have any regulations to it. Like, no one said, maybe we should background check. So I am now vice president of a company called Academy Safe. And our goal is to try to step in before the government steps in. Do you remember like the NMPAA? Like the basically the people who go, this is rated R, this is...
the movie,
Yeah, so they're not a government agency. They're an independent agency.
Okay.
So like that's not like the government has stepped in and said, because that's what was happening in the 90s. Like in the 90s, like the government was like, you can't put this on, like we're going to go against like these rap albums because of what they're saying. We're not going to allow you to put that out. We're not going to allow this to be in a movie. And then people who were artists were like, no, like this is our art. You can't tell us how and what to say. So what happened was that organization was formed, and then they stepped in and said, what if we just let the public know what's on here and they can make their own decisions? And then everybody was like, we're cool with that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But what if it didn't happen that way? What if the government stepped in and said, well, you cannot put that out. You are not allowed to say that. You are not allowed to make that way. So that's what I'm afraid of, is that right now this is happening all the time. All the time, every day, someone right now, unfortunately, is being taken advantage of, either financially or physically, by their instructor.
Yeah.
So a gentleman named Milton, who runs another podcast called Jiu-Jitsu Dummies Podcast, thank you, Milton, he formed this organization, and he called me one day, and he was like, what do you think about us doing something similar? And all we're going to do is try to put out stuff so that way the public is aware of what measures the school has taken. So we're not trying to down anyone. We're trying to put people who did the right thing on the pedestal. So like if they got background checks, okay, cool. Now the public will know this school got a background check. Simply this school didn't. It's not that they're bad people, but now the public can look and go compare the two and most likely go to the one who got background checks. Do you have cameras in your facility? That usually deters anything happening at the facility. Do you have a CPR first aid certification? Kind of important in a physical sport. Or concussion certification, which is something in our sport you kind of should know about.
So you're trying to have everyone have a standard, essentially.
Some standard.
Yeah.
And they don't have to. But we're trying to get it so that way maybe the public will start asking better questions than just how much does it cost.
Yeah.
Man,
I think like the hard part behind that is just like not so much enacting that, but it's kind of where like martial arts culturally stood for a lot of people, right? Because it wasn't really like, yeah, it's a combat form, but for most of the time it was like extracurricular activity.
Yeah.
But then it started to become something very real, right? Which is why you have, like, for example, let's talk about like, like Kung Fu. Kung Fu was a legitimate art form where people would fight, and then it became something that was just art, right? It became movement, stretching, flexing, or something like
Mental,
wushu, mental type of stuff. And then when it started like flipping, that's why there was no standardization for it. It was like a cultural thing that you just did, right? Like culturally, like you do kung fu, like every Korean kid did taekwondo, right? Was it because we wanted to learn how to fight, or you just did it because you're Korean, like you're supposed to do it, you know? And so now that it's become something very real and legitimate, which just explains why, McDojos, there was a period where karate and taekwondo, which still is now, Robinson's taekwondo, they took over everywhere, and they watered down taekwondo like a motherfucker, right? Because like the original form was tangsudo. It was like a military thing that was derived from karate. And then it became this thing of like showmanship. Let's do 14 million backflips and break all these fucking boards that are already pre-broken.
Pretty tight,
right?
Which some of those videos are dope, though.
No,
They're so cool, dude.
right? And then the application became really, really soft. And we found that like in competition when I was a kid, because the part that I was at, he didn't survive very well because he was harsh as shit, right? He would like take like kendo sticks and beat the fuck out of us. But
Oh, like old school training.
but
Sit on you
not
during
great
splits,
for business. But you would take all of our students, not me specific, but the older ones that would go and they would compete. They would fucking wreck everybody. And it was like, oh, these guys did the McDojo version of Taekwondo versus this guy was trying to create warriors, And so that area became very profitable because it was like, you get a belt, you're yellow belt.
90s belt factories
Was crazy.
100%.
Yeah.
Karate Kid did all that shit.
And that part is kind of sad because I feel like a lot of studios don't want to become a McDojo. And so they do what they think is the opposite, but they become more of an issue than the others. So like they'll like one thing in this industry that I think is something that needs to be changed is a lot of the McDojos that would be traditionally labeled as a McDojo, they're actually the best studios to go to stay away from a lot of the other stuff. Because if you treat your martial arts studio like a business, the first thing you're going to do is make sure your people are background checked. Like you'll set standards. You'll say, this is how we measure. This is how we grow. People who don't do that typically are like, we're not a McDojo. It's like, you got 5 students and you're going to close next month. So like you saying like you're not a McDojo is like, you're not a dojo at all. You're a hobby. And if you run a martial arts studio and you treat it like a hobby, it's going to become your hobby again. It's no longer a business.
I think what I meant by that was just more like the ones that are very traditional, their system isn't set for you to get a belt for no reason.
For sure.
Right?
That's
that was
the standard.
That was the 90s thing. It's like, you want a yellow belt? $500.
Yeah,
So
seriously,
you were literally just paying for belts. But like in the one that I went to, I couldn't get a fucking red belt stripe for like 2 years because I wouldn't pass the test. He wouldn't give it to me. I was so mad. But it's like, you're supposed to earn it, dude.
Yeah.
I got the flu and I missed the black belt test, so I had to wait a whole fucking year.
Damn.
So I never got my black belt because his sensei from Korea would have to fly down and he would have to give it to me. So I was just like, but that's why his studio closed down because he wasn't
a good businessman. Yeah.
give out belts, and that was the way to make money.
And the sad part is like a lot of the people who like are like will point fingers at McDojos have like some of the most McDojo tendencies. So like here's one of my favorite ones that a lot of studios do. They're like, how about this? You work for me, right? You're gonna work behind the desk and you're gonna like help us out. And in exchange, I'll give you free classes. It's like, bitch, this is indentured servitude. Like, this is what's like, I can't pay my bills with a kick. I can't like kick my landlord in the face when rent comes around. That doesn't help me.
You could.
And like
What happened?
Right? So,
well, then you will have permanent housing somewhere else. Like,
no rent today, bitch.
Knock, knock, who's there? Front kick to the face.
But they had that with, I was just talking about this with a buddy of mine where in Los Angeles, it's really hard to find, outside of like the Machida stuff, right? To find like a legitimate karate and judo place. Because a lot of the stuff is volunteer based. And it's only every Tuesday and Thursdays at a community center. And it's super fucking hard to find like a good judo spot, right? And it's because maybe there's no standardization, there's no set way for people to like do that. And so you have people who are novices teaching somebody as if they're an expert. And then you go to these like karate classes and it's like, how do you have a black belt? It's because they were just given to it in like throughout the program.
Yeah, there's a ton of them. And like the martial arts industry is on the uptick as well. So it's been a growing industry. which I don't know why, but it just is.
Do we see like more MMA, Muay Thai, BJJ rising, but then you're seeing like more traditional karate, kung fu?
It's all
down?
rising.
Oh, it is.
It's all rising. Like what the beautiful thing about MMA is it made all martial arts have to step up their game. So like anybody, like some of my favorite MMA fighters came from sport karate.
Joshua Fabia.
Oh yeah, that's our guy, dude.
Have you encountered him?
I have not met Fabia. I did call him out and I asked him for a fight. So I publicly like.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I was.
You're
like,
way too big for him. Was he like 5 foot, 5'2"?
What, Fabia? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like
He's
a
like
little
5'2".
dude. I was hoping that he'd say yes. Like he got the death touch or whatever.
He got
Like
a knife.
Oh, yeah, the death touch. That's right, the death touch. I forgot
come
about
on,
that.
Fabia. Like I'm still down. Don't be a bitch.
Oh yeah, save
We'll meet at a catch weight.
yeah,
I'll just stop eating for like I don't know, a year and a half, and we'll meet somewhere in the middle. You know,
I can make. You can make 125. Man.
Dude, that would be
I'm just like a
coolest
skeleton
fight
walking
ever.
in.
That
Dude,
would be amazing.
Rob McDojo versus fucking
I've
Joshua
called out
Fabia.
many people for fights. Like most of the people, not even just for fights, but like if they're pretending that they can like knock people out with their mind and use chi powers, I don't call them out to a fight.
Yeah.
Because like that doesn't do any
Because
good.
you might go to
what is
jail.
it?
if
You
you
look
beat
at a
him up.
bullet.
Yeah. What I do,
Call this guy out.
I have no clue who that guy is. Like, why would you do that to somebody?
What is going on?
It's
Why?
the weirdest game of
But
cricket
look,
ever.
he's amped after he does it though. Look, that's a strong bow. That's a strong ki right
Yeah,
there.
he's buff as shit.
He must work out.
Yeah.
But dude, this story.
Parts in your back. Oh,
Well, look at this guy's aim. It's just all over the place.
Look at the
He's
mom in the
never gonna-
background.
groupings are awful.
Yeah, he's never gonna get the triple 20 like that. You know?
Damn.
Yeah, like this kind of stuff. Like, why would you do that? And then what's even crazier is like if you scrolled into the comments, just throwing it out there, I guarantee you there's somebody who defends it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Somebody's like, oh, you don't understand traditional martial arts. I'm like, what part of this was like, when did darts get invented? Like, how traditional is this? Like, you understand that originally like belts weren't a thing?
Tetanus resistance.
There is this. There's like it's because they're also too with like martial arts. There's still this level of like woo mysticism to
Yeah.
it, right? Where like we could talk about Michael Jai White talking about if I fought Bruce Lee, I'd probably beat him. But to people who kind of fantasize about who Bruce
Nah,
Lee
that's not
is,
true. That's
they
not
just
true.
go Bruce.
You
Lee
don't
will-
think he could take
Nah.
Bruce Lee?
Bruce Lee will kill
Don't tell a Chinese
anybody,
guy.
right? It's like Bruce Lee will kill John Jones. This is like a legitimate thing that people write. It's like
Dude, he was doing arm bars at Enter the Dragon, dog.
Well, like,
Dude, come
we
on.
saw it. He bit the guy. I saw it. He would just
fucking-
bite him.
He destroyed
it
Bolo.
doesn't like
Doesn't work for him. dude.
kill Bruce Lee's legacy and what he's done, but it's like he lives in the world of mysticism now, right? He's almost not a real person, even though he's a real person that existed.
Well, like martial arts just does that. But like the weirdest part is, again, that's cognitive dissonance because we could see that there's an evolution in martial arts. From 1993 to now, what MMA is drastically
So different.
Drastically. Like, if you watch the original UFC, right, and you see Hoist Gracie come out,
Yep.
he starts a lot of these like matches with a lunging front kick.
Yeah.
He's hopping on one leg and throwing a front
good
kick.
oblique kick.
Would that ever fly nowadays? No, he would get wrecked. But at the time, that was a thing because they were like, what the hell is this guy doing? Oh, you're choking me. They had a dude in MMA with one boxing glove and nothing on the other hand. Like,
Person.
there's evolution to like the arts. And like the beautiful thing about what I feel we're still in now is a renaissance in martial arts. I feel since 1993, it has forced other martial arts to step up their game. Look at someone like Michael Venom Page.
Yeah.
Like, look at somebody like
Sport karate,
Stephen
yeah.
Thompson, Raymond Daniels. Like, all these arts that people were like, oh, karate, huh? Like, you understand that Baz Rutten is a Kyokushin black belt?
Yeah.
Do you understand that GSP is a Kyokushin black belt? You understand how many black belts that were world champions? Like Taekwondo, if you just look it up, how many Taekwondo black belts were world champions?
Yeah.
You know, and like, we have to give credit to wrestling and say that wrestling does have, I think, the majority of belt holders, right? They have the highest number of belt holders, but you can't down Taekwondo, you can't down karate because these are ranges of combat that are allowing you to be better.
And I was also talking about this on our previous podcast too. It's like a lot of people don't realize, like during this time too, there were legitimate strikers, but they were not a part of the UFC. There was an entertainment aspect of it. Grabbing a cross, coming down with it. You know what I mean? Like these were not the best strikers in the world. They absolutely weren't. Muay Thai was around.
My favorite one is right off the bat, like the sumo dude.
Yes.
Sumo dude comes out against some dude in gi pants, and he kicks him in the
French
face.
guy, the Savant guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kicks him in the face, and a tooth flies onto the announcement table. And Bill Wallace is awesome. Love Bill Wallace. Like, I've taken so many of his seminars, which are like 2 hours of stretching. But But Bill Wall's like 60-something years old, and he could like still kick me in the head. But he's announcing, and he's so casual about it. Like, yeah, there's a tooth that's on the.
Yep.
Oh, here it is. Yeah.
The foot.
You're talking about
See,
Bill
this
Superfoot
is what
Wallace,
I'm-
right?
This is peak male perfection looks like right here. Look at that. That is sandwiches. That's
Is he
what
wearing
I
underwear, or is he just wearing a?
I hope he's free balling.
I think he was a sumo wrestler.
That's
right?
intimidating.
Yeah, he was a sumo wrestler. Yep.
Yep. You're like, I think. Oh yeah.
Bing.
Boom.
And there's the tooth.
Oh, brother. Too much spam musubi, brother. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's like an evolution of the martial arts that I think like that's what the conversation is, right? Like, with the whole Michael Jai White thing. Like, I think for him, he reflected. He goes, "I think I attacked people's childhood, and he didn't really realize that, which is what he felt." But in how I took it was like, yeah, no shit, you're fucking 250 pounds stacked, and you're hella
Jack
good.
Black,
Yeah,
and he's in a
good.
time after Bruce Lee. So
And he's super nice. Like, I met Michael Jai White only once, but when I met him, he was so nice. He took the time to talk with me and stuff. And he's a big dude.
and he's sick as
Like,
fuck.
what
You ever
is
seen
a-
him spar? That boy can move.
He can move. He can
The
move.
boy can move.
He talking about beating Bruce Lee. Like, let's just do statistics. Let's do a tale of the tape, right? Bruce Lee, I think, he died in his 30s, right?
Yeah.
So Michael Jai White in his 30s. So we'll just use that. Michael Jai White in his 30s, prime Michael Jai White, still jacked, right? I think Bruce Lee was 135 pounds.
Yeah.
I
But he
think-
beat Kareem, though. He beat Kareem.
soaking wet.
He beat Kareem.
Wet
He did
135.
technically in
Put that in your account, please.
Oh, there you go. So 145 pounds, 5'7", right? So if you do the tail of the tape, and he's a Guinness Book of World Record holder.
He did 100 push-ups with just a thumb. Just one thumb.
This is a real record.
Why do you love these
Just
stats?
one thumb.
He's defending
Write
his
this
people.
down?
Yeah, this is how I oil check.
That's
people.
a
I've done
one
100
time.
oil checks with just a thumb. Now, where's my record?
The guy wasn't there with the clipboard. He
But
did time.
realistically, Michael Jai White also is in an era where martial arts has evolved slightly past where Bruce Lee was.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. Like, it's okay that happened. That's a good thing that happened. And if it wasn't for Bruce Lee, it wouldn't have evolved the way that it did.
Yeah.
Like, how many people started martial arts because of Bruce Lee?
Everybody.
How many people started because of Michael Jai White? Not as many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Michael Jai White's very talented, great actor, and does spotlight martial arts. And I fucking love Black Dynamite.
Probably his only good movie ever. Too.
Honestly, kind
I've
of
watched Black Dynamite probably 40 times.
It's so funny.
I've never cried laughing that hard, more than Borat. Like, I fucking love Black
I
Dynamite.
threw that shit before I walked in the room. Like, it's such a quotable movie,
Yeah.
too. Like, told you not to call me, interrupt my kung fu.
It's so sad that's the best movie ever.
good.
Yeah.
But, like, Bruce Lee, obviously, he inspired more people, in my opinion, to start
Yeah.
martial arts.
Yeah, that's not even
And,
debatable.
and so, at the end of the day, they can both be something that's impressionable. He could be right about beating him, but at the end of the day, is he going to be as much of a legacy as Bruce?
No.
He could want to, but I just don't think that timing worked out for him.
Yeah.
Like, a great example, Scott Adkins. Anybody know Scott Adkins?
course.
Great.
Super talented. If Scott Adkins was born 20 years earlier, he would have been a martial arts action phenom.
Bigger than JCVD.
He would have been
Yeah.
up there with like Seagal, like Van Damme, like he would have been up there with those guys, right? But he wasn't born in that era of action star. Now we have great action movies, but you don't have guys like that, like where you can say we got like 5 action stars and you know their movie's coming out. Like, Scott Adkins is such a talented dude, so good. He's actually a pretty fucking good actor too, and he just was born in the wrong era. If Michael Jai White potentially was born in this era, he could have been somebody who could have inspired, especially since he's African American. He could have inspired a whole group of African Americans to want to do that and been that guy. And he still is. He still is that guy. But just the timing. Bruce was able to just be that guy at that time with the attitude, with the skills, and the shape.
Yeah, it's just interesting when I see the arguments. It's just like people can't fathom it. They're like, "There's no way Bruce."
How dare you?
fucking happen.
How dare you say that?
Yeah, it's like, I was like, "Are you fucking with me right now?" like, do you know how gigantic Michael Jai White is? And he also moves like Bruce Lee at like 250 pounds.
He's super talented.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh,
And
man,
other
one of my
MMA fighters vouch for Michael
Yeah.
Jai White. They're like,
Uriah
"Dude,
Hall.
Uriah Hall learned
He
the,
can
the,
move,
the
bro.
spinning back kick from him." It's like, this is not somebody that just does movie shit.
Yeah.
Like, he fights.
And he posts all the time in the gym. Like, all the time he's in there.
Training.
Yeah, he's always doing it. This is a great one.
Tell us a little bit about this guy.
So this guy was considered called the human stun gun.
I love this guy.
And
Tapes. I bought all his tapes.
so
So BJJ fanatics.
he is learning or teaching an art called Kyoshu Jitsu.
Kyosho.
oh, hell yeah, dude.
So is jitsu.
And the funny part is like this isn't just like, he's not the guy. Like in this organization, he's like way down on the totem pole. George Dillman is the #1, or was until he retired.
George Dillman.
Yeah, that's right. The king of the no-touch knockout. But they just talk completely out of their ass about stuff that's not true. And even funnier is they contradict themselves sometimes even within their own videos. Like I sent you one, the one that right on your laptop.
Oh, this one?
Same
guy?
No, this is this guy's name is Evan Pantazzi, and he started Kyosho Jitsu International.
I love these
He
names.
was supposed to get his black belt degree, I forget. I think maybe his 8th degree from George Dillman.
Wow.
I think. It could have been 5th, but I'm just off the top of my head. So he said no, and he started his own organization, and he teaches basically the exact same bullshit. And this is him explaining how he's using his energy to knock someone out without touching them.
Wow.
And he talks about how the concrete has pulled his energy, so he's a little like not as good as he was.
The concrete?
The concrete. He talks about the fluorescent lights messing up his energy industry.
Sounds like a shitty superpower, bro.
like
Don't put me in a warehouse.
I can't fight in a warehouse.
Oh my God, there's fluorescent lighting and concrete
He
everywhere.
would die in Japan. There's fluorescent lights everywhere over there.
And then this is taken from like a 2-hour seminar. So like earlier in the seminar, he talks about how this doesn't work in a fight. He talks very directly. He's like,
the point?
So, but the best part is at the end of the demonstration, he gets other people who have like, again, they want to believe this. So he pulls up people from the audience and they're like, oh, I feel it, right? Then he completely, and within 2 hours, he completely goes, this will never work into a fight, too. This is more effective in a fight. Like the end of this clip, he's like, this isn't as effective in a demonstration because I don't want to hurt you.
Dude, these guys are charlatans.
First of all, let me tell you something. When I was a kid, I believed in this shit when I was a little kid.
You'd want to.
Like, I wanted to.
Little David just sitting in the mirror.
Because they had like infomercials or some shit on TV about this stuff. I really wanted this to be fucking real so bad as a child.
You just didn't believe hard enough, honestly.
That's my fault, dude.
That's what it really is.
It's the problem is
I've been still trying to light this candle with my fist for like.
It was the damn fluorescent lighting.
It was. That's my fault, dude.
The atmosphere energy.
It's just the wildest thing. I love that video of the guy who's like showing you how to dodge a sword strike, and he just like waves his body.
Oh,
over.
the Sistema guy, yeah.
Dude, that shit was like,
dude, they're nuts, huh? What's that about?
So there's the two figureheads there, like the guy who's the two figureheads of Sistema,
the Korean
like
guy?
most people who really look at them. Like here in Hollywood, there's a guy, his name's Martin Wheeler, he's a Sistema guy. And people consider him like legit. So whenever people talk about like legitimate Sistema, they always just point at Martin Wheeler. It's like, well, yeah, that's not the only fucking thing that he did. Like he wasn't just a Sistema guy, but the two figureheads are a guy named Vladimir Vasiliev.
Of course.
And the other guy, his name's Mikhail Rybov, I think, Rybak. Mikhail was a very obese man, and people talk about how good he was. There is not one piece of footage that you can find on this man actually sparring. I've looked and looked and looked and looked. It is always demonstration based, and it gets more crazy as time goes on too. Like one of my favorite videos of his is he talks about energy, and he's like, I can put this man to sleep, and he just puts his hand on the guy's chest, and the guy just falls asleep.
what?
And
I have
people
insomnia. Can I hire him?
Yeah, please.
But Vladimir, who's still alive, that dude put out a instructional DVD, and it's called Psychic Energy, and it's about how to use psychic powers to knock people out without touching them. It's like a whole instructional on how to do it, and it's just regurgitated bullshit. None of it's real. But then when people go, well, this is what the Spetsnaz use, I'm like, first of all, that makes my fucking nose bleed. Like, that's not how shit works. Like, are you telling me that Navy SEALs are forced to only learn one martial art? No, they're fucking people. They're going to go and get continued education on what they want to learn.
Dude, imagine our Navy SEALs doing no touch.
Jocko Willnick.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Look
Storming
at
an
this.
Al-Qaeda, you're in trouble now.
Fuck
A Navy SEAL laying on their back.
Like,
to let people
but
touch
look,
them.
tell me this is
What is
not the
this?
epitome of shape, right?
So what are they trying to say is like they're emitting something that can destroy.
Well, he's
energies.
He talks about energy a lot.
He's firing his hamstring at him.
He's firing.
What is that?
Lift
His
it.
quads.
Hey, dude, you're full of shit. You lifted it in the air. I saw it.
Fuck you, Rob.
How dare I?
He wrist
question
locked
the
him in the
master.
belly.
Like
look.
one of my favorites I call chair jitsu. He's like sitting at a chair and people are attacking him, and just like moving his hands.
You know what? I'm sure people have said this so many times, but all the instructors that are doing no-touch knockouts, they all look like the same guy.
The fat guy. The fat
Big
Russian.
fat guy who's a little sweaty, a little like, worn out from
Who doesn't
demonstrating.
like sandwiches? Like,
Can I ask you something? Like, when you see all these videos, right? I'm pretty sure you've done research on it. These participants, like, what's happening with them? Are they like all a part of it, or like what's going on?
well, it depends. So, like, again, going back to that video we looked at earlier of the no touch knockout thing, right? In that video, like, I sit there and I watch and listen to the whole thing, and I try to listen to it with an objective ear. Like, is some of what they're saying legitimate and some of what they're saying not? And sometimes what they'll do is they'll mix the lie in with some truth, and that's how they manipulate a lot of these people. But those people already want to believe.
So they're like indoctrinated already.
It creates like a placebo effect. And so I think just from what I've seen, because I've only been studying these frauds for like 12 years at this point.
Only a decade?
Well, you have to think, like, most of these things are like each individual art has its own lineage and its own history and its own technique. And I'm trying to learn all of that through, if I can go take a class, I will. But a lot of it is having to go.
So you showed up to classes.
Yeah.
And how does that interaction work?
I went to one. It's a guy. What was his name? Mark Rasmus.
Dude, these last names are
They're not real, bro.
So Mark
cult leaders,
Rasmus
for sure.
is one of those dudes that does like the initiation into hermetics crap. Like, oh, you can throw your energy out at people. Actually, if you scroll down, you might actually find this dude.
Yeah.
So Mark Rasmus, he's one of those dudes that is under like Tai Chi, Adam Misner's like cult.
This is
Sorry, I have to see
Actually,
this.
funny enough, I know a lot about all these people. It's really fucking weird. So this guy worked for the DEA. And
What?
He was rounding up criminals with his staff.
so while he was working for them, and now he's like this public speaker.
If
like,
Harvey Dent was walking around Gotham with
like, it's log, big as heavy
What
as wood.
the fuck is happening?
I
seems like he's not
get
strong
it.
enough.
I kind of get it.
You
He
get the
just
big ass
disarmed
log?
him, though.
Yeah, like it's
Dude,
tough.
tell me
It's
more about
tough
the
to
log.
defend
Quite
yourself against
cumbersome.
that.
Like, here I was, like, with my everyday carry, just my casual, put it in my JNCO.
Dude,
him with the
he
top
got
of the head.
control.
But
through the pin
so
him.
this dude, this story is crazy. So this guy got fired for like multiple things, but one of the things that he did was he actually took his student, convinced his student to allow him to marry his student's wife. This really happened.
Oh my god.
But he had his own religion. This guy made his own damn religion. And inside this religion, he convinced the dude to marry his wife. This guy married that guy's wife, then turned around and hired the guy, and that guy is now a preacher in his church. And this dude molested 2 women under a thing called, what he called, an act called sexual healing.
Okay.
That's a song.
Yeah, Marvin Gaye.
That's Marvin Gaye.
It's insane. Like, each one of these people have their own insane stories, and yet this guy now is a public speaker, and he actually does like these camps, these retreats for children, like summer camps. Like, why would you want this guy in charge of your children?
Your summer camp.
Yeah, it's weird. And he's a public speaker, and people pay him. Like,
These guys
Jeff
can't-
Prather is his name. Jeff Prather. Oh, this one's wild. So, like, you get a lot of this overseas. Like, this is something that you see a little bit more in India.
Gonna break her nose on the
Tamil
floor.
Nadu,
Nobody
I think.
grabbing the back of my head's daughter.
Oh my
daughter's head.
god.
But they
No,
he
no,
smashed
fuck-
their
Oh,
faces
no!
through these.
Look, chin up.
With the
dude.
chin
up?
Oh, this is a light one. If you scroll a little farther down, you'll see it when it's on fire. And this is super polite what he's doing.
Yeah.
Oh my
Scroll down to the next
Oh
one. By
my
polite, I'm saying
God.
compared to what else he's
What
done.
the fuck?
But they
Scroll
put a
down
towel there, so that's
a little
good for
more.
padding.
Show me this, please, now.
This is just an actor, and this actor was doing this like demonstration. And when he does, I guess he has a little too much hair care product in.
Uh-oh.
So you can kind of see where this is about to
He's
go.
feeling himself though.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's
Oh, he got
dancing,
Michael
having a great
Jackson
time. I
from,
love
like,
this gift that
pyrotechnics.
somebody put though.
Oh, the
Oh my God!
Oh, yeah.
Please no! I
Not his
did it
hair.
on purpose.
look at the way he's like. He's like, got
Yeah,
you.
hold
yeah,
on.
don't worry. This was exactly how it was
Part of the
supposed to go down.
How it was supposed
You don't have to worry. It was perfect. You all thought I got burned. I didn't get burned. They don't call me Ghost Rider for no reason. This is crazy. He's just playing it off.
He played it off.
Oh
well.
my god.
What's the problem?
Yeah, if you,
I don't like the one with the kids, like the girl.
kids
like,
ones are
oh
wrong.
yeah,
Kids
keep,
are cra-
keep scrolling down.
Didn't you
'cause
tell
I know
me
it's close to this.
There was
I know
one in
it's close.
Indonesia where a guy rode a bus over little kids.
Yeah.
What the?
What?
So I'll tell you that I haven't posted this one because of how bad it is, but like that particular story. So there's a thing in Indonesia, and it's a practice they call debus. And if you go to YouTube and just look at Debus, you'll go down a rabbit hole of crazy. But it's basically self-mutilation without harm.
Oh, okay.
And so you've probably seen some of this before.
Without harm. That's so crazy.
So what they'll do is it's basically a magic trick, right? They'll take a razor blade, they'll cut their face, they'll be bleeding, they'll wipe it off, and there's no blood, right? Because it's just a magic trick. Well, little kids don't know it's a damn magic trick. So I've seen little kids slit their throats and themselves. Like, it's bad.
God.
It gets really bad. But one that I saw was a bus, and it was like all these kids laying down. And the bus drives over, but it stalls, and it's on like a ramp, so the bus goes up, and it falls and hits the first kid.
No.
And then, that's the one. That's it. Yeah.
Why? I don't like the way they're treating kids is insane, and how this is okay.
Yeah, and there are parents there. They're going to applaud after this happens. Oh. And that's not even the worst one. That's wild that's not even the worst one. Like, there's another one of this guy, and when he does it, which is probably only a few away, because I did a story about this guy. If you scroll down just a little, there it is. That's the one. That shit will give you nightmares. Don't watch if you don't want
We'll
to
blur this out.
remember
It's
this.
too crazy.
Dude,
Just so we're content.
Like, watch the upper left side of
Tom
the space
Segura.
mask.
Is he making lunch too? Like, what is going on?
Like a little sashimi at the
Little
top.
fucking tandoori chicken on the fucking...
This is India,
Bro,
or is it
jump-
Thailand?
I do believe it's
Thailand.
India.
Oh, is it?
Oh, they look
But
like
watch
Thai.
what happens to the upper left corner of the space mask.
Oh no!
Oh, no.
What the?
Did you see the upper left?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's blood. Like, so, and this is what? Maybe a 12-year-old kid? And, like, there are people applauding this that think this is okay. Like, some of this stuff is absolutely insane, but they just treat it like it's another day. How crazy is that? And, like, again, the reason I put out stuff the way that I do is because stuff like that, there's nothing funny about that.
Yeah.
That is abuse. People have died, gotten murdered, and killed in front of people like that thought, oh, there's just an accident. No, that's neglect. Like, you're abusing people. But you post something like a no-touch knockout. People go, that's funny. Yeah. They watch that, they laugh at it, they joke.
This is the darker side.
You show stuff like that. Well, now I already have your attention. Now you'll pay attention. Now you'll look at this shit. Because you probably, if all I posted was this stuff, one, I'd get kicked off of almost every social media. But two, you would stop watching it.
Yeah.
So if you're going, oh, this is funny, I'll watch that. And then it confuses people sometimes. They go, that's not funny. It's not meant to be funny.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be funny. This is the stuff I'm trying to
There's
stop.
funny stuff, and then there's this shit.
Yeah, like, and if you mix the two, what winds up happening is people go, ha, 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 oh, now I have your attention, you'll pay attention. Or this one's wild
This
too.
one?
Yeah, another fire thing in India. So you see this dude. I'm just
The
going to
fire
douse
thing,
my
it's
hand
good, though. It's
and some
good. Good
gasoline
showmanship.
here. No
Don't
big
do
deal,
this.
just
Please
little,
don't do this.
Oh, no, dude.
just chilling another day, just going to
Please don't
chop
do
through these bricks.
Why?
Oi.
So that was what this kid was trying
and a
to
kid
do.
No!
Oh my!
The reason that this went wrong was obviously they put gasoline on the kid's hand. There was nobody there, like the first demonstration. To get the
spotter.
towel right, there was nothing.
Yo, but kids are
But
watching.
the guy who walked up, that's what made it the worst. The guy who walked up to help, he saw the water bottle. Well, the water bottle
an
was full of
idiot.
gasoline.
What
so he
an
went to go
idiot.
spray it to like put the fire out, and it was gasoline. So like, and like, let me just show you just like a little my part. If you scroll all the way up, can you go all the way to the top, like the very top?
I feel like there's a Simpson
So-
episode like this.
This is something that happened to my instructor, like that very first one. My instructor set himself on fire in a martial arts demonstration.
Oh
This is
my God.
instructor.
No.
Wait, so you went to kind of a weird school too?
Well, we did nunchuck demonstrations, and so this
It was like the performative art.
Yeah, it was a thing.
Yeah.
And so
Like
when we did this,
sidekicks.
and this is just me, I was 16 at the time when I fought in these. I was fighting in a bar when I was a kid.
Wow.
What the fuck am I watching, bro?
But this is just a promo for my book. But this is like clips of me fighting when I was younger.
Oh,
but
spoke right.
You're flexible as shit.
That
Yeah, dude.
fire thing was a wild. So this is the time what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's like the fire demonstration with the nunchucks.
But he lit himself on fire.
Because there was a pan in the ring, and when he pulled the nunchucks out of the pan, a little bit got on the ring. And my other instructor at the time went to go stomp it out, and when he did, the pan got on his foot, and when he picked his foot up, it just flew all over. But saving grace is all those people behind him. If you can see them in the light, like there's a crowd full of people. If he didn't get hit with all of that, all of them would have gotten hit.
Oh man.
Yeah, wild, right? So, like, I'm not a stranger to, like, stupidity in the martial arts industry. I've seen it firsthand. And I know what's safe and what's not. It's not like I'm guessing about the shit. Been doing it since I was 12 years old. And, like, stuff like that is not safe.
Yeah.
You know?
So going back to the workshop for that one guy, so you've been to workshops or visited a lot of these schools before?
Yeah.
Have you confronted them
Yeah,
after school?
absolutely. So Mark Rasmus was the one I went to. I thought I was going to this guy named Adam Misner, who is a complete crock. He runs a
names
massive cult.
suck.
But I thought I was going to his seminar, and we were basically doing like a beta test for our documentary. Like, how are we supposed to do this? Well, the only way to know is we got to try. So like we mic'd up and all that. I went out there and we did a bunch of B-roll, like outside of there's like a park, like right outside of Hollywood. It like overlooks the Hollywood sign. It's like a dope dog park, whatever. So we're in this dog park where they said it was supposed to be. And I had wrote like 4 paragraphs to them about doing this. I was like, I'm going to be out there. I'm filming a documentary. I'd love to take the seminar, like all that shit, right? And at the end of the day, I'm not doing an expose, a gotcha. I'm just asking questions. They get themselves. I don't have to do anything but listen to them be crazy. So they replied after all of that was time and location. Nothing about the documentary, nothing about how we were filming, none of that. So I get out there and we're filming, and shout out to my homie who filmed, because he's a bigger dude, and he was out there with me in this hot sun in the LA heat during the summertime, like with full everything, holding this camera. And we get out there and a van pulls up, and it's like one of those creepy like black windowless vans, like and the door opens up and everyone who's a part of the seminar pours out of this van. I'm the only dude there who's not a part of this cult. They're all wearing the shirt and the symbol, and I'm like, I stand out like a sore thumb, right? And so the guy gets out, and he's a big dude. Mark Rasmus is not a small man; he's a large man. And so when he comes out, I'm like, that's not who was supposed to teach the seminar. I was looking for the other guy. So I walk up to him and I shake his hand. I go, hey, man, nice to meet you. I was like, I'm really excited for the seminar. Is it okay if we film? Like, I just doubled down because I kind of need some kind of verbal confirmation.
Yeah.
And then he goes, no. And he just walks away. I was like, fuck. I'm like, well, this is going to be short. But I was like, we are in a public place. So I was like, I'm just going to take my mic. I was like, I'll just take my mic off. Is it okay if he just shoots some B-roll? I mean, I paid him for his time, and I'm going to be here for the next 6 hours for the seminar.
6 hours seminar?
It was a 6-hour seminar.
That's good. Good information.
Yeah, that's him. That's the dude. So I wind up like...
It's kind of scary, dude.
I have video of him like
Boston.
moving people with his mind too. So he says no. I wind up, is it okay if I just get my dude to go do some B-roll? It's like, he goes, yeah, that's okay. I'll walk over. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what you do. You film every goddamn thing you see. So he goes over. He's like, do you think I can film from the car? I'm like, no, I can see you from the car. Like, we would see you. So he goes up this like spiral, and he's filming down onto us. And I take the mic, and I don't turn it off. I just put it in my pocket with the mic out. And it recorded everything. So we're sitting there, and the first hour of the seminar was us standing in place for 10 minutes at a time, not moving. The guy set an alarm on his phone. He set it down. He goes, do this posture. Well, very similar to like what that looks like. He's like, do this posture and don't move.
See if it works.
Yeah.
And he doesn't explain why we're doing it. He doesn't talk about the point and nothing. He says nothing. We just stand there in the park for like 20 minutes at a time.
Impossible.
Not moving.
I have ADHD, ADD.
And like, after like a couple minutes, I'm looking around like, we're supposed to just be chilling like this? Okay, cool. Like,
I would
time waster.
Dude, I would start
but now
farting
I'm
so much.
committed to the bit. Like, it's too late. I'm already filming. Like, I paid for the time. Like, I can't get the money back. So he does that for an hour straight. 20 minutes goes, change this posture. We're in the sun, in the LA heat. Yeah. Like, this is no joke. It is hot. So then an hour goes by. We get some water, and finally we start moving. And he starts talking now. And I'm like, oh, thank God we can finally start asking questions and stuff like that. So I get him to the point where we start talking about like belts. I'm like, are there belts to this? And he goes, no, there are levels. I'll go, okay, well, I can relate to that. I know, right? So then I was like, well, what are the levels? He goes, it goes all the way up to level 10. I'm like, I can relate to that too, because like black belt and get 10th degree black belt. I was like, I get that. And I was like, well, who's level 10? Is Adam Misner, like the head of the organization at the time, is he the one who's level 10? He goes, oh, no. He goes, he's like level 5 or some shit like that. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he didn't say 10. And I was like, well, he's the guy who founded the organization.
Yeah, who's level 10?
So, like, who's level 10? He goes, oh, humans can't get to level 10.
Oh, my God.
I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, who else could there be?
Did you ask him what level he was?
No, I didn't ask
That
him
was
what
too
level.
disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm treading water. You know?
Yeah. You don't know.
It was insane what he was saying. He was talking about muscle fascia, and like, muscle fascia is a connective tissue. It's just a connective tissue. It does not move independently. It doesn't. And like, they talk about it all the time.
Sounds good,
about
though,
how to
when you say
move
it.
just your fascia.
Like, have you used a Theragun?
And we started doing these movements. He's like, you should feel the chi coming out of your palm. I'm like, I don't, because it's bullshit. Like, I'm doing everything you're saying. Like, I would love this to be true, But like this dude.
And did you ever like really tell him like this is fucking fake, or were you kind of
we got
undercover?
caught filming. We got kicked out. So like, he had like a dude there, which was really weird, with like the old school like kung fu hat and like the kung fu outfit. He was just like in full regalia, and he like went to go drink some water, and he looked up and he caught my camera guy. And then he went to go confront him, and I was like, "Fuck," because like I was like, "That dude, my camera guy doesn't train. Like if he does try to get physical with him, that's my fault."
Yeah,
so I was like, "I'm gonna go with him." So I just like went over there and headed off at the pass.
I would have built. I was like, dude, what the fuck? I told you not to fucking film. What's wrong with you, man? Don't disrespect him.
God.
Oh, my camera dude was so good. He actually switched out tapes. He saw him coming.
Oh.
So he had already shot a bunch of B-roll, and he switched the tapes out, and he's like, "Look, you can see like from start to finish.
We don't have anything."
Yeah. But like, yeah, this is a.
Well, he's huge.
He's
He
pretty
is a
big.
guy.
big dude.
He's
He's
fucking
tossing
huge.
everybody
Like,
around.
and like that's another thing is like, you know, even if this guy taught bullshit, he's just based off the size of his weight alone. Like that would be intimidating to people, and they might listen more to him. But like Adam Misner is the same. Adam Misner is like absolute.
Oh no, there's
crazy person.
Asian people there.
Dude, have you ever seen the movie Mystery Men?
Yeah.
Yes,
So you remember the Sphinx, the character of the Sphinx?
he can control like his mind control.
He talks in circles.
Oh,
He's like, if you don't control your anger will control you.
Oh, God, I hate
like that
that
kind of
shit.
shit. That's
hate
exactly
that
how
shit.
Adam Misner speaks, and people eat it up. He never actually says anything, but because he speaks in circles, they think that he's deep.
You can't beat that logic, though.
Yeah.
If you come in your palm will come in you.
You're like, damn, that's true. I have felt that before.
Oh God, twice.
Wow. I mean, he seems so authoritative too, right? Like all these like cult leaders, they have like this presence about them that doesn't make you doubt them.
Yeah, they speak with confidence about utter bullshit. It's really impressive the way that they talk. Like they'll talk and they'll say nothing, but people are like, they're so.
How much did that cost?
Yeah.
That's the Marshall camp, which is just full of these psychos that do all that cheap crap.
Psychos.
And so he was probably one of like maybe 15 to 20.
So it's a bundle
instructors
deal?
that day.
It's a bundle.
what do you
but-
charge for that? Like, what did these guys?
Well,
charge?
when I went to go do the seminar, it was like a 6-hour seminar for one, which is insane.
Yeah.
And then I think it was like maybe $400 or something like that.
Damn.
Bro,
You
he's
can make some
raking
money.
it. We got to start doing
So
it.
when people go like,
100%.
we could do this better than them, I think.
people were like, why don't you just go confront them? I'm like, you understand how much it costs to confront them? Like, and then they can kick me out at any time. Or if it's in their place of business, you're now trespassing and they can kick you. They don't even have to let you in.
Yeah.
And then if
I need footage.
If I talk to anyone about going to do any confrontation, that could be considered like an act of aggression. And now I've committed a premeditated crime if we go hands on. Like all of this is not conducive to doing well.
Yeah.
Like even like people like Dale Brown, who publicly will talk about like, yeah, anybody can come in here and we can test this or whatever. Like he wouldn't even allow a dude to film like on his first day. And the guy like the guy went to go do a gun disarm, and Dale tries to like take the gun, and the guy pulls back and shoots him like 15 times.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like,
That guy.
is that
The
the
Survival.
black dude?
Detroit.
In
He was on the
Detroit?
UFC card too, where he came
Yeah.
out with Joaquin Buckley.
Yeah, Urban
yeah,
Survival.
like he does the clout thing.
But he's
John
he's
Strickland pulled him
trolling.
into a case.
No, he's not trolling. He has
He's not
multiple
trolling?
facilities. He has a franchise. Like he's serious about what he's saying.
you think that
and the
Bluetooth headset
irony, like
is
if you
fake?
look, he's like Detroit Urban Survival Training. Like your facility's in Ferndale. Like, like you owe back taxes on your last facility. Like you could just look that up. Like what?
Dude,
you don't care
that
about
guy
Detroit.
was like my
care about
favorite
money.
obsession for a while. Then it switched over to like this little fat Russian kid with titties.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I love that kid.
I love that fucking kid.
Yeah,
he just
he's
gets
the
slapped around and he goes, no, 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 no.
This is how you do it.
Do it again.
His counters are pretty fire. too.
Dude, I fucking love it, man.
There's that dude that does the bits where he'll like snatch tablecloths off of things. I alwaing think that's funny. He does it like a million different
Oh, the
ways.
Japanese guy?
Yeah,
The Asian
yeah,
guy, right?
Yeah.
So this is not a bit. I always thought this was like a troll
Not a bit.
because he has a Bluetooth thing.
He 100
Bluetooth headset
believes
is
it.
fire.
Like that's just who he is, how he acts. That's 100% him. Like it's not a bit. Because and the reason I know for a couple reasons. First of all, Dale Brown's a huge piece of shit, and I'll tell you why. Has nothing to do with just that. But like when I put out a video about him, not too long after that, I found out that my stepfather had Alzheimer's disease and that he was slowly passing away. And so it was a very hard time for me and my mom. Like it was rough. So my mom's caretaking for him. And then I put the video out. Well, he responded on the comment section and he's like, well, you can come up here, blah, blah, blah. And I let him know, like, hey, just so you know, like, I would love to do that. But my stepfather's got Alzheimer's and he's only got so much time to live. I was like, probably, if I remember correctly, at this like June, we'll probably make something happen. But this is priority. And he was like, okay, right? June rolls around. And then when it happens, rather than coming to me like a grown-ass man and saying, hey, like, when are we doing this? Let's set a time, date, location, right? He starts blasting me on his stories on Instagram. Like I'm a coward and I'm never going to show up. And this is while I'm right next to my dying stepfather staying in their house while he's passing away. And he knew this. He knew why I couldn't go. And he used that as an opportunity to try to get clout by saying that I was some kind of coward. Look, Dale, you can get it any fucking time you want it.
Let's go!
Like, if you want it in your facility, it's never going to happen.
What if he does this to you?
Yeah, how you gonna stop that?
He's never doing that shit to me.
Cut the video of Rob tapping. Oh, shit! It's real!
Like,
Got me
if
a
he
box
wants
of
it,
crap.
and like if he wants it in the ring, if he wants it in a cage, but I'm never doing it inside your facility where you have legal control.
Yeah.
Like fuck you. Like so Dale Brown's a huge piece of shit. Like and he like does this thing where he talks about like look at this. Like Joaquin Buckley should be fucking ashamed of himself for this.
Nah, but he
because he
can't turn,
sold
though.
out for the
He can't-
clout.
he can't turn.
did this just for the views. And then that doubled down to give this guy some kind of legitimacy. Like what he doesn't understand with that. And like, yeah, Joaquin Buckley can kick my ass. Fuck you, I don't care. Like at the end of the day, you still gave clout to a complete and utter fraud.
Yeah, like
and
the
you
end
did
result
it
is terrible.
For views,
Yeah.
for likes. Like, what about people who actually need this for self-defense? You're just like doubling down, giving this guy some kind of credibility, and he's full of shit.
Joaquin Buckley, you're next, right here. Rob's gonna
No,
fight you
absolutely fucking not. Joaquin Buckley would fuck
kill
me
him.
up. His actions are fucked up. Like, here's another one. Like, let's say hypothetically John Jones somebody, right? If John Jones somebody, John Jones is a piece of shit. But he could still beat me up. Like, those can both be true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and Joaquin for selling out to this dude, it's fucking shame. And Joaquin, what, has like 200-something thousand subscribers, right?
He's fighting a main
on
card,
his
too.
Instagram. Like, but to allow
Oh my
this
God.
dude to do that. And there's footage of like Dale talking about how expensive they are. Like he's like talks about how he does it for the money. He doesn't care about these people. Like he's just a piece of shit. And his claim to fame was, oh, well, none of our people have died in the line of duty. What, security guards? Like, you know what? No dildo salesmen have died in the line of duty either, Dale.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations. You have the same record. Like, and again, like, these are all DM. Like, if Dale feels the need to, like, pretend that this didn't happen, feel free to just show the DM.
That's the hard part too. Like when I feel like there's a good part of the population, and they do this a lot, where they draw parallels where parallels don't exist, right? So you could say like, oh, like how they would argue things would be like, oh, the sky is blue. It's like, well, there's also the color red. It's like, what the fuck does that have to do with what I'm saying? But that's how people argue, right?
Yeah.
They're like, yes, your thing independently is true. The color red does exist. It has nothing pertaining to what the fuck I'm talking about here.
It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But like these people make hand over fist money. And like one thing I do regret
God, I should have done this.
is whenever I did a
gotta sell
TikTok
out.
about Dale, he had his I think his daughter or stepdaughter who did a gun disarm against an adult.
Yes.
And when that video hit, it was like one of the only times, because I do this on purpose, I don't tag them because I don't want them to get like subscribers. I don't want to help them. So I don't tag them. I just do full video breakdowns. And if people want to know that information, they can get it from those breakdowns. But these videos, these little short videos, they do fairly well. So I don't want to give them this extra exposure. Well, I tagged him in it because I thought it was important that people understood that he was teaching this daughter this shit. Like, you're sorry, little girl, you can't just be like, ha, you missed, and then grab a gun afterwards. They're going to shoot you in the face.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and man, people just shared and shared and shared and shared, and it went ultra viral. And then his numbers just kept ticking up and ticking up and ticking up. And then it just like his stuff blew up, and then everybody was making fun of him, and then he used that as an opportunity to make money. So I give him 100% credit for being smart enough to utilize that for business purposes, but he's still a piece of shit. You know, he's still taking advantage of people, and he still is just a terrible human being. Like,
It's kind of fascinating too. Like I look at myself as a child watching this, and I probably would have 100% believed that if
I would have done that shit.
Yeah, I probably would have believed it as a kid, right? Just like the idea of, because you kind of you're living in a fantasy world as a kid. You want everything to be real. Like the supernatural is very, as an adult, it's fascinating, but as a kid, it becomes believable. So like you put people in a very dangerous situation like this. Like, what's going to fucking happen? Like, there's real world consequences for this type of stuff. And the fact that this guy's making that much money off of it fucking blows my mind.
Yeah, he's making hand over fist money. And like his YouTube stuff was just took off. Like he's got a ton of subscribers.
I thought it took off because it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
I didn't know it took off because
He
I
just
want
needs
to
a
learn it.
percentage of
Yeah, but at the end of the day, his bank account doesn't know the difference between $1 he made because it was ridiculous or $1 he made because it was legitimate. It's
just
the
make
same
money.
dollar. Yeah.
Wow, dude. This is such a weird, it's like, what's that, the soft white underbelly.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially in martial arts, some of this stuff is dark, man.
Yeah, it gets really dark. Like, we just looked at, like, the surface. That's just stuff I can post.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
there's stuff I've seen that I had to go to therapy over. Like, I wish that was a joke. Like, I don't even want to talk about it on here. I don't think it's, like, healthy. But, like, there's horrific stuff that has happened.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine, like, some of the stuff we've talked about that didn't have video footage. Imagine some of this stuff, like, 10 times worse, that is caught on camera that
Yeah, I
people
don't
send
never want to see
individually.
that, dude. That shit
It's
was fucked right
bad.
up.
But it's like the juxtaposition. It's so strange because on one hand, some of it's just absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
It is just funny, and I just want to watch. I could go down a rabbit hole like now. Just there's so much curated content. I can just spend the whole day just laughing at
How
people,
come,
right?
I always wonder too, it's just like, you know, for me, like if I wanted to learn something and they're like, listen, I could kill you at any second. I look at them, it's like, listen to you fat fuck. Like, you look worse than I do. Right? I mean, if you and I both take our shirt off, you cannot look fucking worse than me. Like, that's the general fucking rule, right? The only person was Habib's father. Oh, that's it. Nobody
that's
else.
the only guy you're
But he's
scared
still
of.
kind of jacked.
Yeah, he's still kind of jacked.
He's fat Jack.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but he's over here wrestling Habib and like throwing him around. You know, there's like a proof of this. Like, I just feel so sad for them, right? Like, there should be a certain standard in your mind first before you even go in there.
Well, you want to know
smarts,
something really interesting though that I found out that I thought was bullshit that's not? Have you ever heard of registering your hands as deadly weapons?
Is that a real thing?
Yes. Is that a real thing?
It's only a real thing in one place I could find. It's a real thing in Guam. So if you look it up,
Hey, brother.
in Guam, you can actually register your hands as deadly weapons, and the only requirement, like, I even got the paperwork. It was like, do you want to register your hands? Do you want to register your feet? Or do you want to register both? And it's like a real
Left
document.
hand, right foot.
And like, but you have to be a citizen of Guam. And then you also have to have been in martial arts for one promotion, I think, like one level.
Oh,
up.
never mind, kidding.
So, like, if you got promoted in any way.
PXE.
I'll give you your blue belt in Muay Thai.
So,
Hell yeah, dude.
everybody said, like, this is, like, not real, it's bullshit. And I was like, yeah, it's bullshit. And for years I said, and then I looked it up, and I was like, holy fuck, you actually can?
Yeah.
So, like, for our documentary, we actually did, like, do the paperwork and stuff. Like, I guess I'm not a citizen, so they just never sent it back.
So, Rob, tell us about the book, because we're coming to the close, the book and the documentary. What do you got going on?
Last year in November, I wrote a book about, like, my childhood and how I got into martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that clip that you played a second ago was, like, a lot of the stories I tell. That club was wild. So we did, like, 2-on-2 fights, 1-on-3 fights. Like, it was a wild, wild west. It was called
OG
patient
shit.
boxing.
For real.
And
That
so
OG shit.
I started going to these bars and clubs with my instructor and, like, our team, because we would do demonstrations in the middle of these fight nights where they would allow anyone from the crowd to get in the ring and fight. And then so, like, one day I was like, I kind of want to do this. And so my instructor was like, well, if you can get your mom to sign a waiver. And my mom did. I was like, oh, yeah. So, like, I started fighting. I started going there when I was 14. I started fighting when I was 15. And the first dude I ever fought was, like, 30 years old.
Oh, my
Like,
God.
But we were, like, the same weight class. Saw my instructor set himself on fire. Saw riots. Saw all kinds of shit. And I have photo and video evidence of everything I talk about in the book.
That's so cool.
So, like, I made sure that people understood, like, these stories are not made up. These are 100% true stories, all just between the time I was, like, 12 to about 20.
Was it hard to respect your sensei after he caught himself?
You're like,
what was the next day like?
I gotta go.
Sensei,
So-
I don't know. man.
There only time I ever wavered in my respect for him. I talk about that in the book as well, which is actually funny you bring that up. Is one night after a fight night, he used to smoke cigarettes and he'd hide that he was smoking cigarettes. So he would, like, go to this back area. Well, the fight nights are going on, and I'm back there just getting some air, sitting on a step. And he walks out there to start smoking a cigarette, and he doesn't say shit to me, which is weird because he's a super charismatic dude. And he just asked me, he goes, "Do you like this?" And I'm like what? He's like, "Do you like martial arts?" And I was like, "I absolutely love it. It's like what I want to do with my life." He goes, "One day you're gonna hate it," and he just flicks his cigarette and he walks back inside.
What the fuck?
So
And,
encouraging,
like,
huh?
And, like, it was like the only time he's ever done anything like that. And,
Probably
like,
made you so sad.
It did. Like, it
Yeah.
was like, I love this, and, like, I feel like it's something that's so beneficial
was
and
the
helpful.
point of
And I got to tell you, like,
That's real talk.
As I'm
That's
saying,
straight up honesty.
I think he was just having a hard time, like everybody does. But, like, the craziest part about it was, like, still to this day, he's fucking wrong.
Yeah.
He's fucking
That's
wrong.
tight.
I
That's
do not.
fucking
I do
tight.
not agree.
That's
like,
tight.
I appreciate his honesty, and that maybe that was what he needed. But he is wrong.
You want to
Like,
get married one day? My wife's a cunt.
Kumite!
Yeah, right. That one drag. Just flick
Think
that
about
shit.
being gay.
Are you straight? Yeah, one day you're gonna hate that shit. But
Dick's kind of nice.
Just try it. That's all I'm saying.
But like, yeah, he was a great dude. I really appreciated all his encouragement. That was like the only time he was ever that way. So I don't want to shit on the man.
He
but,
must have
like,
been going through some shit.
he was going through some
Yeah.
shit, I'm sure. But yeah, it was a book that I decided to write because there were so many stories that I kept telling like on podcasts and stuff, and I was like, actually, these are kind of fucking great. Like some of
Yeah.
these stories. I got stabbed one time. I had to hog tie an ex-girlfriend. Like I had a weird ass life. And
Stabbed, dude.
Wait, what
Yeah,
was
I got
the, give us the
stabbed.
cliff notes. We'll read the book, but what's the cliff notes of that?
oh, I had broken up with my first girlfriend. She had dumped ice cream on my head in a public place.
Sounds nice.
So like I was like I went on a double date with a buddy. I was like, hey man, I think she's a little off. Could you like maybe go with me and let's see if this is like maybe it's me because this is my first girlfriend. I don't know. Maybe I'm a piece of shit. So I was like, I need an outside opinion. And so we went on this date and everything went great. We went and saw a movie. Everything was great. We went and gotten dinner. Everything was going great. Hey, let's go to get some ice cream. And so I pulled my friend out to the side. I was like, hey man, like what do you think? He's like, I think it's you. Like everything seems to be going good to me. It's like maybe it is me. Maybe I need to work on me. And so like we go back inside and we're talking and out of nowhere, like we were at a Cold Stone Creamery. She had the big ass thing of ice cream and she just dumped it right on top of my head. Room full of people went silent. And I'm sitting there with ice cream dripping down my face, and I look at him, and he's like, maybe I was wrong. And so the next day, I was like, I got to break up with this chick. So I go in to break up with her.
Oh no.
And she like took a picture frame as soon as I said the words, hey, I think we need to separate. She grabbed a picture frame, whipped that shit across the room and hit me in the head. I was like, holy shit. And by the time she hit me, she had pulled out a knife and she ran at me and she went to go cut me. I was like, oh fuck, you cut me in the arm. What the fuck? So now we're like tussling for this goddamn knife and it spills into the fucking living room. And I get the knife, which by the way, if you've ever been in an altercation with a knife, it fucking sucks. There's nothing fun about it. It's terrifying
Yeah,
shit.
but if you took the torch survival system, then you would
You would have not disarmed.
Yeah.
Dale's laughing at me now.
You would have done the picture frame.
Should have increased your survivability.
Yeah.
So I wind up getting the knife, but they had just moved into her and her mom had just moved in this place. And like when you first move into a place back then, there's like a random spool of like telephone cord.
Yeah.
And like it just happened to be on the ground. And she's like freaking out. And I was like, well, I can't let her go. But I had told my friend, Joey, you motherfucker. So I told him like, hey, I'm going to be breaking up with her. You need to be early. Like when he had to pick me up so we can go to work. It's like, you got to be early because I break up. I'm walking out the door and we need to go.
He wasn't.
Like, he was not there. So like, I was like, fuck, he's not here. And I was like, I don't know when. He's like 15 minutes late already. And I'm like, we had just been tussling over a knife. So I grabbed this phone cord and I hog tied her. And sure, the door opens and I go to turn and like, it's not him, it's her mom. And she comes in, but she was high on Valium. She was always high on Valium. So she walked
Is
in.
this Florida?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's Florida. Yeah, it's a
Tight.
Florida story. So she walks in, and I'm like, yo, your daughter just, like, tried to stab me. And she goes, don't do that, Karia. And then, like, walks.
Oh, she's so fucking high.
Oh,
She's out of
don't
it.
do that. And she just walks to her bedroom, leaves the front door open. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like holding this bitch down. And then all of a sudden my buddy shows up and I'm like, dude, like where you been? Like, so I get up, she's like freaking out on the floor. I was like, I'm not my problem. I'm out. So I walk to the door and I'm like, where the fuck you been? He was like, I got tacos. I was like,
Get the fuck out
why'd
of
you
here.
get tacos?
Fuck you, Joey.
I was like, why'd you get tacos? Like you knew what was going down. He's like, but tacos.
Wow.
And I was like, I can't argue with that. We fucking ate tacos on the way to work.
Fuck. And then you said they called you back. Remember I told you about being gay?
Try it out.
Yeah. You're second guessing that shit now, aren't you, motherfucker?
Smoke going through the phone.
That's so funny.
So yeah, like there's all kinds of stuff in there like about
that's
that stuff.
amazing. Though I got tacos though.
Was he Mexican?
No, he's not. Mexican.
Oh, damn.
I've been fucking up on that.
He's an Italian dude, which I mean, it's hard to eat spaghetti and drive. You know, so.
I got tacos.
No, this shit was great.
Guys, make sure you purchase Sensei's Bars and Scars. Good round of applause from Dojo Live, a.k.a. Robert Ingram.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate
Thanks,
you for having me.
Robert. And guys, we'll be
Wow.
back in 2 weeks. We'll see you in the new year. Peace.
Oh, so